Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4, I think, of Tales of the Tide. This is the podcast where we talk about whatever the tide brings in. And today we have special guest Simon with us.
What up? How's it going? My name's Simon. Um, I've known Brody since I was like literally a child, like a newborn. Our families go way back.
Yep.
First started hanging on the field, the football field, and yeah, it grew from there. Now he's one of
Yes.
my best buds.
Yes, it did. Yes. Yes, indeed. Very grateful for Simon and to have him on the podcast is something I've been trying to plan for a while, but we're both busy gentlemen, both in college, goes to John Carroll, great school.
Indeed,
Um,
brother. Yeah.
But basically, the main focus for today's podcast is just going to be faith and kind of, love and religion and all those types of things and spirituality and how all that encompasses together. And really, the focal point behind this and how it got kind of brought up was your start of your podcast or our TikTok. I apologize, not podcast.
Oh, you're good.
Um, Simon's Daily Scriptures.
Yeah, the the famous TikTok. So you want to know about the start of it?
Yeah, what inspired you to start that and like take it and run with it like you did?
That's so interesting, honestly, because I don't think I have like a direct answer. Um, I know I was reading the Bible every single day, like consistently for probably like 4 months, like 3 or 4 months. And then
Yeah.
finally I kept getting so much on my feed. Like I scroll through Instagram, like every post is like a religious TikTok. And I remember
Yeah.
sitting there and there's so many people like saying certain things. And I was like, well, I don't know if this totally aligns with like what the Bible's saying and like, people branching out, which is good. Like it's not like a bad thing. They're still sharing their faith. Um, but it was more of like, originally I wanted to just read the Bible and then like leave it at that. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to like everyone kept giving their interpretations and like, it all kind of seemed a little like they weren't focusing on the actual word. So
Hmm.
if you go back and watch most of my TikToks, like probably like day one through day 100, it was strictly like, "Hi, my name's Simon. Read the verse, done." And
Yeah.
then like after a long period of time, people just kept asking like, "Well, what does this mean?" And I was like spending so much time in the comment section, so I was like, I just give like a little like 30-second, 40-second debrief now after it.
Yeah, no, that was gonna be my next thing was kind of talking about like your growth and like the upscale that you've had since you first started because like you said, I do remember when you first started, you'd hop on,
Oh
here it
yeah.
is, goodbye. And now like because our biggest thing and how we've grown a lot closer recently is by like me asking you those types of questions and
For
stuff,
sure.
and now I don't really need to because you already provided in the video and stuff, which not only helps me but definitely I feel helps a lot of people out there and anybody who sees it. And I speak for myself as well as probably anybody that watches those videos. We're very thankful for those, and I really do hope you continue to do that. um,
Thank you.
but what I want to share is my personal favorite day and
No,
verse that you did. It was day 177.
no way. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. It was Proverbs 3, verse 5. Lean not on your own understanding, and in all ways submit to me, and I will make your path straight. I
Yeah.
love that one. There's a lot that you say on your TikToks and a lot of the verses you use that I really do like, but that one sticks out to me in the fact that, like, the biggest thing that we can do as humans is worry, is stress, and these are all things that you basically say in the video, but to be able to just submit yourself to a higher understanding and being able to know that no matter what happens, there is somebody with you, guiding you, holding your hand and supporting you and everything, that really means a lot. And I just want to know if you have a personal one that you've ever done, if you could think of one off the top of your head or whatever, that you really resonate with.
Well, it's actually like really funny that you mentioned that verse because I was thinking about this when you asked me prior, like, a week ago. And all
Yeah.
week, like, since I've read so many different verses, like obviously I have like a ton that I love. But
Yeah.
my all-time top favorite is Proverbs 3:5 because honestly, it's helped me so much. Like sometimes I find myself, and I think a lot of people, like trying to be perfectionists with things.
Yeah.
Like, whether you see like for me, it was like my siblings. All my siblings were like 4.0 students, like doing great, like doing their thing. And then I usually really wasn't that person. So like I
Yeah.
always felt like I needed to like, step it up, needed to be better and stuff like that. And that verse specifically just gave me a lot of comfort. And it was like, as hard as I try, what's meant to be will be. And I just need to trust that. And at the end of the day, that brings me the kind of peace where I can truly live my life and make sure that my life is how, it's supposed to be, and
Yeah.
that brings me a lot of comfort. So I think all-time favorite verse is definitely Proverbs 3:5.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I agree. I like the way you explain that.
Yeah.
Is there like a specific, we're going a little behind the scenes here. Is there a specific way that you pick a verse for your TikToks, or do you just whatever pops up is that?
I actually get DMs about this. It's kind of funny because in the beginning, part of my intro just kind of came out to be where it's like today's random verse is, and then whatever it is.
Yeah.
And although it's like half a random verse and half not, because
Yeah.
usually I read through like a chapter in the Bible like every day, and then I try to pick out something from that reading that really stood out to me. So like I annotate the Bible, like I underline things that like stick out.
Hmm.
And then right before I actually pick a verse, I always pray. So I always pray like, God, whatever you're trying to tell me, whatever you want people to know, like make sure I'm not being selfish. I don't want it to be like my life and what I think and stuff. Kind of going back to like, originally the day one thought where it's like this is all God's word. Like I want to keep it like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I praise to God that, He gives me discernment and understanding that I'm able to pick a verse. And then usually, like, not usually, literally every time one falls in my lap, like one sticks out and it's like, bingo. So then I pick that and I just go with it. I start recording.
Hmm. I like that. I don't even think I knew that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Kind of
but that's
little.
kind of a cool scope to look through and everything. And um since you kind of mentioned it, like the power of prayer, like, and just being able to sit down and just like collect yourself and your feelings and your thoughts and being able to express them and portray them out to, the Lord and all that is really something quite powerful. And what is like something that you would say is like your favorite part about prayer? Like, what is it that like really just like out of all the things that prayer can do for you as an individual, what's like the biggest one that really sticks out for you?
I think the biggest part of prayer for me is just kind of the mental reset of it all. I
Hmm.
mean, you look at it's actually funny. You hear a lot about like Fortune 500 like CEOs and like people who are seen as like highly successful, and it's like, oh, like how do you manage so many things in your brain? How are you thinking about all this stuff? And a lot
Yeah.
of them say like, oh, I start off every morning by like prayer. Just that
Yeah.
idea where you can kind of like at any point in your day, no matter how stressful it is, take a second, breathe, and like remind yourself your true values and like the true things that you care about in life. I think that alone is just such a powerful thing. And
Yeah.
even like, for people who aren't religious, like when you get really stressed and stuff, just take a moment, breathe, like appreciate what you have in life and like remind yourself that, whatever stressful situation you're in, like if you're gonna get past it, everything seems more serious than it is at the time. So for me,
Yeah.
that's like the biggest thing, the mental reset.
Yeah, I like that. It's definitely like one of the biggest impacts like that I've dealt with. Like if I had to pick one, my thing would probably be like kind of going along like that Proverbs verse there. Just like being able to talk like freely about how you feel and what you like, not what you want, but like what you wish to happen, but you also understand like what's going to happen is going to happen and stuff. And being able to just sit there and like just talk and just being able to like know you're being listened and stuff. Because like sometimes you call up a buddy and you're like, hey, I want to talk about some things, and they're talking and yeah, but they're really not listening. But like when you pray, to me, it's like every time I've prayed, I've always felt like there's someone, something, whatever, listening to me, understanding me, and with football and everything that I got going on and all that jazz. It feels good to be able to sit down and have someone listen and understand and like be all knowing really of
Yeah.
what's going on in your life. And um you know that kind of leads me into my next point, that like my past and like my family history and stuff has not been very religious or faith based or anything. A lot of that has come up in recent years, and a lot of it has been because of you and like your support and some other people out there support and stuff. But I want to branch that into like a what are like some good ways that people who might not be religious or might not be fully open to it or whatever, like what's a good way that they can introduce like faith and stuff into their lifestyle without maybe fully devoting themselves.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's such an important question nowadays because a lot of people are really just scared to start, which is like, I don't blame them. It's really intimidating. Like church can be intimidating. Even my girlfriend like started off like never went to church. And the first time I brought her to church, she was like nervous.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the best way to probably go about it is kind of what you said earlier. We're just going into prayer. Like when you really think about it, you can right now take a moment and talk to like the creator of the universe. Now, whether how strong your faith is in that moment that you truly believe that it's the creator of the universe or not, regardless, you can feel that power and you can start to build a connection. And I think the coolest thing about religion is it's very unique, like to every individual. A lot of people think it's a very like cookie cutter like plan, like, oh, I'm Catholic, I have to do this, this, this. And it's really not. I mean, I grew up like Catholic and stuff, but a lot of my connection with God was built, in my bed or in my bedroom, like where I'm alone with my Bible, or like, driving in a long car ride where, I'm like stressing about something or, things are racing through my mind. So I think the biggest thing people can do is really just take a moment and, try to figure out your relationship with God. Try to talk to him, give him your worries, ask for things like, like you mentioned, and, build a relationship that way. Because I think that's more valuable.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that because like when we first started doing like all of our faith related stuff together and stuff, um it all started for me by sitting in my dorm room, lonely nights, whatever, dark nights, praying, talking, and like I won't lie, like a lot of those times and stuff, like my faith and my commitment to it and like belief in it wasn't really there. I was just like, I'm doing this just to do it and try it and stuff. I've been to church a handful of times in my lifetime and stuff, and sometimes I've gone with the idea of, it's good to be here. I'm happy to be here. This is a positive thing, and I've gone with the negative mindset and this is dumb and stupid and boring and everything. Um, but like I have definitely seen my life and my lifestyle and my health and everything vastly improve since strengthening my connection and my commitment and faith and everything. And a big thing for us was like those walks where we would literally just go through a park, on a hike, through a ravine, whatever, connect with nature and connect with like the Lord and everything. And my biggest thing is like I'm a big nature person. So like being able to connect with the universe in more ways than just connecting with somebody individually, having conversation with them, but also being able to be grounded to the earth and be grounded to what the Lord has created and given to us and everything. And my advice would be to just, go out in nature and just enjoy life. And like you said, pray and talk and create a connection with God, with other people, and come together to support. I think there's um, what in the world am I trying to think of? There's a verse or a story or something where they talk about, when somebody messes up, go to them by yourself and talk to them about their sin. And then if that doesn't work, bring another person. And then you both talk about their sin and stuff. And I think that kind of relates to what I'm saying in the fact that, have those people around you who understand the temptations and stuff, but are also willing and able to help bring you back into that light. Um, so that would be my advice, at least.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
great.
know if you know the verse or the story or whatever I'm talking
Dude,
about, but
I'm trying to think. I know the story. Um, oh, I, I can't remember the exact verse. I wish I could. I wish I had that, but
that's fair. But
either
um,
way, that's very true though. It's a very powerful thing to have, other people involved and like that sense of community. Like really like I know my TikToks can get very like generic sometimes and like very just, like non-unique, like non-personable, I guess. Um, but the whole concept is kind of to have that community, to like have people be like, hey, like, how's your day going? Like, hey, like, God bless you. Have a good one. Happy
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think your TikTok does a very good job, and now you have an Instagram as well, both of which I will put little thingies for.
Oh,
Um,
awesome. That's good. Thank you.
um, but like I think you're I think they've done a good job of creating like that community. Like there's been multiple times where I've like replied to somebody else's comment or something, or somebody's done something funny or silly that I thought was funny and had a connection with them or whatever. And I think it does a very good job of bringing everybody together under one common thing, which is something that, in today's society and age is really not focused on, and which is sad. But it's good to know that there's people out there like you that are making a change and everything.
Thank you.
But to kind of switch topics and get a little bit more of a personable experience here, I want to know, what is your favorite verse of all time? I know you said that Proverbs 3:5 is up there, but is there anything else, that comes to mind when you think all-time favorite, boom, what is it?
Isaiah 41:10 is also like a huge verse in my life. And that honestly was more prominent during my kind of like my testimonial period, like where I was really growing my relationship with God. Because honestly, in the past, I was scared. Like I was a scared little boy. As weird as that sounds, it's true. Like there's so many times where I'd go to bed and I was worried about, like family members' health or, financials or, just common stresses that most people struggle with. And the
Hmm.
verse specifically is do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that idea that God is there helping you, like God is protecting you. He wants to lift you up. He wants to like make you thrive and stuff. It's just such a nice reminder that, no matter what issues going on or no matter what thing you're stressing about, God's going to help you prevail. God's going to help you win over that. So it just gave me a lot of peace again, you know. So that was the number two verse. That's like I love that verse.
Yeah, that is a good one. I've heard it from time, and every once in a while, yeah, I'll see it on TikTok or something.
Yeah,
Um, Definitely a good thing to kind of sit there and like you said, feel that like presence, feel that support behind you, and it ties into basically everything we've been saying. Knowing that the Lord is watching, He's aware of your situation, He knows what you're going through, but He also knows what's to come and what He's giving you and. Um, to help strengthen that understanding of, although this moment might not be the best, I'm still here, I'm still breathing, life is life, life is good. My personal favorite um, verse is Deuteronomy 31 verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord, for your God, goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Kind of ties in with yours a little bit there, and that the fact that, I've had days where I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, dang, I got to do this on my own, or I got to deal with this on my own, or whatever. Um, but being able to sit there and look at it in a retrospective picture, we're not alone. We got people around us, we got God with us. Um, and all those things and to be able to sit there and think like, hey, this is rough, it's hard, I'm scared, I don't want to keep moving forward, but moving forward on the path that God has made for us is what it's all about, and that's how that verse speaks to me personally.
that's a great verse. It's actually funny you mentioned that too, because I've been getting so many verses recently that have been about talking like when you go through trials and stuff to not see it as like a bad thing, but like know that it's helping you grow. And I think for you specifically, I mean, you've gone through a lot of challenges. I've seen you personally like fight through a lot, and I think it's really made you the strong man you are today. Like you're a tough dude, man. Like you've gone through a lot of emotional stuff, and you can tell like you're very sound now. So although those things were sucky in the past, I think I do really truly think that God like helped you become the man you are today. And I think the
Yeah.
man you are today is an awesome man. So
I appreciate that. That means a lot, and yeah, I definitely can see like, I'm definitely in that period where it's like being able to, understand why everything is happening, and like being able to see it as part of the plan, part of the process, and everything. That's definitely, something I've grown to understand and work with. Um, but basically, like how it relates is like kind of like you said, like I've gone through so many things where it's like now I can sit back and understand like, hey, this is happening, but it's happening for a reason. Whereas like in the past, in my own personal experiences, I've always thought, why is this happening to me? Why do I have to deal with this? Why can't, it just not happen or, be somebody else's issue or whatever? Why is it it was very a self-centered, selfish way of thinking. Um, but now being able to understand and look back at, hey, all those things happened and you made those decisions and you made those things because it led to who you are now is something that you've opened my eyes to, that faith itself has opened its eyes to and everything. And definitely something that I'm very grateful for. So thank you.
Of course, yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
but to piggyback off of your favorite verse, what's your favorite story or, event or something that happens, in the Bible?
That's extra tricky because although verses are great to like kind of repeat and remind yourself of, I think the stories in the actual Bible are such incredible things. Um, Especially, I mean, there's a show called The Chosen. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but
I've seen clips. Yeah.
it does a really good job about like actually showing like the stories of the Bible and putting it in more of like a modern like concept, where people can
Yeah.
understand it. But in terms of like favorite story, probably there's actually two that involve Simon Peter, which is kind of ironic actually. 'Cause I get a lot of dumb comments
Uh,
about that, but they're so funny. I appreciate them. And it's I think it's in Matthew where it talks about you know whole group of the apostles are in a boat and they're like floating out at sea pretty much in a storm, and they're all freaking out and stuff. And then they see Jesus walk like standing on the water, and they're all terrified. They're all like, "It's a ghost! Like we're dead!" Like. And then Simon Peter is like if it's truly you, like let me walk on the water and come to you. And Jesus says, "Okay, come." And then he starts walking on the water, and he like gets pretty much to Jesus. He's focusing on Jesus the whole time. But then the moment he looks around and sees the storm and sees the waves and the wind and all this commotion happening around him, he starts to sink. And then he falls, but he's close enough where Jesus can grab his hand and help him. And I think that idea is just so interesting in terms of, you know, you can choose to focus on Jesus and you're going to find a lot more peace in that. Or you can focus on the world and, you know, essentially build up that stress for yourself. So for me personally, it's like I can look at, certain situations that just suck in life or certain negative things are happening around me and I can worry about them and sink, or I can choose to focus on God, stay afloat, stay above those problems, and ultimately be at peace. So that's a story that kind of sticks out with me.
Yeah, no, I've heard that one, seen it on TikToks and stuff. Heard Cliff and all those great
Oh
guys
yeah.
talk about it and stuff. Um, and I definitely agree with you. I think like it's a good. I gotta check out that show because I'm like a visual guy. So like
Yeah.
I could sit here and read and listen to everything all day, but seeing it means more to me than
Oh
just
yeah,
reading it and
definitely.
stuff. But I definitely get where you're coming from. I do like the understanding of like no matter what's around you, you're right there with Jesus. You are right there. He's an arm's length away, and he's got your hand no matter what. I definitely do like that one. My personal favorite, kind of generic, probably one of the most popular one is the two thieves on the cross next to God. Um, kind of because of the way that the one thief is like, hey, you're Jesus. Pop us off the cross. Like that, we're good. Like just get us off here, dude. Do something. And the other one's kind of like, you don't understand. Like that's not how it works. You have to, pay your respects, pay your dues, and everything. And Jesus, reiterates that and everything because, growing up and being younger and stuff, I always viewed it as like like a monetary gain. Like faith and stuff was a transactional thing. If I believed in you, you gave me money and you gave me happiness and peace and stuff, which is true to an extent, but not in the way that I used to think about it. You know,
Right.
I used to think that oh, what is this? We're running out of time? What?
Oh no. What?
I don't know. Whatever. Um, some weird thing. Oh yeah, we do. We have 10 minutes left. That's so stupid. Whatever.
We'll find. We got more time. We'll figure
Um,
it.
hey, we could always do more episodes, but
True. Very true.
but for me, like young when I was younger, it was always like, hey, I'm gonna pray real quick, and if you're real, you'll help me win this football game, or I'll score a touchdown, or win this wrestling match, or you know, we'll win the lottery. It's just stupid, crazy stuff
Right.
like that because I was young and dumb. Um, but now, like being older and real and being kind of like that other thief, where it's like you have to understand that you can pray for those things, but if they don't happen, understanding that they didn't happen for a reason. For example, if I pray, hey, God, help me win this football game today, and I didn't win this football game, I didn't win it for a reason. One, maybe because I got to work harder, or because something bigger is happening, or whatever. And there's more to life than obviously competition and stuff. It's just easy for me to relate that thing with my experiences, but that whole story with the two thieves is probably my personal favorite. Kind of ties
Okay.
in with yours, but I
Mhm.
like how yours is more focused on what's around you and how like focusing on that can deter you from your actual path and your guidance. Um, well, since we're running out of time, and you got to get going anyways too, because you have church. Um, I
Hence I
guess.
don't normally dress like this, people. I know there's like the people that like carry the Bibles and walk around campus. I'm not one of those
Uh,
people.
you should be.
Yeah,
You're
that's true. That's a good point.
you're very knowledgeable in everything, and you're given I think we got the next up and coming Cliff and everything with us here.
We'll see. Time will tell.
uh,
Thank you. I
uh,
appreciate that.
but yeah, no, I appreciate your time. I appreciate being able to sit down with you. Obviously, I didn't know there was a time limit on the thing, um, but we got plenty of time to do plenty of more. Maybe one day in the
Oh, yeah.
near future, we'll get you for an in-person one.
That would be great.
Eh,
I'll be back home next week. So
all right, well, I'll be
maybe we
here.
can figure something out. I know you're a busy guy, so I mean,
Uh,
we'll
I'll
figure
make
something
time.
out. Yeah.
Um, But yeah, no, I just want to say thank you. I want to give a shout out to your Instagram and your TikTok. Simon's Daily Scripture Readings. We talked about it, everything. I'll put them back up here again for you guys to go follow. Go check them out,
So
please. It's definitely worth your time. Um, anything else you got?
honestly, probably just a big shout out to you because in terms of like my TikTok and stuff, the support that you and some of our other friends have showed me, especially you, like consistently, probably every video. I've people give me so much credit because I wake up every day and I make the videos. I want to give you a lot of that credit because you consistently support them and spread the word. And I think by you doing that, just by interacting with the videos and spreading that, I do truly see it as you spreading the word just as much as I do. So I really want to give a shout out to you and say thank you, Brody. And I'm super proud of everything you're doing. I think you're killing it. You're a great guy, and I'm excited to see what you do, honestly, because you're a creative man, and it's gonna be cool everything you produce.
Well, well, thank you. I do appreciate that a lot. That does mean a lot. Same goes to you. Proud of you. Proud of everything you've done and for yourself and your family and everything. And like you said, we're both creative men. We come from a very talented back family and everything. So I'm excited to see where your channel goes. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Oh yeah,
And thank you guys for joining. Thank you for listening. Um, God bless. Amen.
yeah. God bless, guys.